Hello, students. Welcome to Virtual Math Development. I am going to go over a couple examples for our new topic, which is combining like terms. So bear with me. This is the first time I'm using Screencastify to record with Cami in this way. So we're going to give it a go and see how it works out. I'm going to close this Chromebook so that it's a tablet, and so you're not going to see my face for a little bit. All right, so we have a math problem here. 6x plus 2x minus x plus 3y. And we need to figure out what the like terms are so that we can combine them and reduce this problem as far as it'll go. So in order to do that, we're looking at the variables and the coefficients. The variables are the letter, the unknown values, and the coefficients are the numbers that appear before the variables. So we have 6x and 2x, and then we have minus x, which when you see a variable that doesn't have a coefficient in front of it, you can assume that there is a 1 in front of it. So if we have negative x, we can assume that there is a 1 in front of that. All right, if we have positive x, we can assume also that there's a 1 in front of that. So we can start working through this problem from left to right. So 6x plus 2x, we're not adding so it's a little deceiving. We are adding the x's, but the x variable itself doesn't change. The coefficient changes because the coefficient is what indicates how many x's we have. So if I'm adding 6x's to 2x's, I'm left with 8x's, and I can bring that down. The x stays the same. Oh, before we do that, I want to color code these. So I want to separate these into like terms and color code them. All right, so we have one term here. And since 2x is a similar or like term, we can put brackets around that with the same color. Negative x is also a like term, so we'll do the same thing. And then we come to a term that is not a like term because we have a y variable, not an x. All right, so I'm going to just erase this because I want to color coordinate it. Okay, so we have, again, 6x plus 2x is 8x. Okay, I always like to put an equal sign as I'm working through steps for my problems. And then we'll bring everything else down. So we have negative x, or minus x, and then we have plus 3y. All right, so now we know what terms are like terms and not because we've color coordinated, so it's easy to see. Now, if we subtract an x from 8x, we're left with 7x. So we can bring that down. And we'll bring down the plus 3y. And now, can we go any further with this problem? Indeed not. We do not have any more like terms. We cannot add 7x and 3y because we have two unknown values, two variables, x and y. And until we had an indication of what the values are, then we wouldn't be able to solve the problem and go any further. So this is the solution to this problem. All right, next one. Example number 2. And let's do the same thing with brackets. We'll divide this problem up so that we can more easily see the like terms. So we have 4xy minus 2x. Is 2x and 4xy like terms? No, they're not, because we have an xy, all right, and we have an x. So the variables look different, which means they're not like terms. That brings us to plus 6xy. And yes, that is a like term. And then actually I should have done the brackets around the plus sign because it is a positive 6xy. And then we have plus 2y, which is not a like term, and plus 10x. So let's change the color. We have negative 2x and 2y. Is that a like term? No, it is not. Is 10x a like term? Indeed it is. X is the same variable as the x and negative 2x. So we'll put brackets around that. And then finally brackets around our lonely 2y. No friends for you today. All right, so now we can start working through the problem, and I'm going to color coordinate. So 4xy plus 6xy, and the reason I put the brackets and included the math symbols, the minus and the plus, is because we know that 6x is positive because of the plus in front of it. So 4xy plus 6xy will give us 10xy, and then we can bring everything else down. So we have negative 2x and plus 2y plus 10x. All right, so now we can easily see that we have two like terms, and the other two do not have like terms, which means they're going to stay like that. So we can bring down the 10xy, and then we have minus 2x plus 10x. And we know that a negative 2 plus 10 would give us 8. Now, if we were on a number line to represent that, if we were on a number line and we had 0 here, we had negative 2 here, and we're adding 8, which means we're going toward the right on the number line, we have to go 2 units before we get to 0. That means that we're subtracting 2 units from the 10, and we get 8, and then we add 10 more, or 8 more, sorry, and if we add 8 more, of course, eventually we'll be at positive 8. So adding your negative and positive numbers can be a challenge sometimes, but if you use a number line, it makes it easier. If you're adding, you go toward the right on the number line. If you're subtracting, you go toward the left. So we're left with 8x. And let's bring that down with our blue. Plus 2y. Can we do anything else from here? Indeed not. We are finished with this problem. All right. So by now, you should have watched the play Pause It, which is number 1 on the activity board. It talks about combining like terms. Sal does a good job explaining it in Khan Academy. And then after watching these 2 practice problems, you should be ready to do 4 problems. So I'm going to go ahead and write out 4 more problems on this document and assign this. And this will be number 2 on the activity board. So please complete this and submit in Schoology. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.